Welcome to the Fit Vegan Podcast, the show where we help you optimize your health, fitness, and mindset on a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. My name is Maxime Sigouin. I am a former triathlete, powerlifter, bodybuilder, and basketball player, and I've been vegan for over 9 years. I'm also the founder and CEO of Fit Vegan Coaching, which has helped over 500 vegans from 20 different countries to completely transform their bodies and their health. I'm excited for you to hear today's episode. Let's get into the show. All right, good morning, everyone. So today I want to share with you the top 5 books that have changed my life. So I actually want to reframe that. If I was to start my life all over again, and I only had to read 5 books to help me get as fast as possible back in the position that I'm in, those are the 5 books that I would read because they absolutely changed my life and allowed me to gain mastery over the areas of my life that each book is dedicated to. So the first book, and I think I read it when I was maybe 15 years old, so it's been a while back now, was Awaken the Giant Within. Probably heard of this book before. It's by Tony Robbins, obviously a huge inspiration for me, and just recently joined his Platinum Partnership, which is a elite group of people that get to meet him and work with him. And so very excited to be a part of that. I've been waiting. Oh man, I've been waiting since 2015 for this. It's been 8 years that I've been wanting to do this, and finally was able to step into that. So very excited for that. Anyways, going back to the book, Awaken the Giant Within was the first kind of like big self-development book that I read that really opened my eyes into like, dang, I have the ability to change certain fundamental things about myself, like in the way that I think and how I perceive the world, and tools and strategies that allowed me to improve who I am ultimately, right? That's why it's a self-development book. But Awaken the Giant Within was kind of that big eye-opener for me, especially because it had actually actionable and implementable tools within it. And fun fact, I'm actually getting my parents to ship me my book because I've traveled all over the world at this point, and I just don't want to carry all my books with me. But in that one in 2015, there were certain exercises to do, and I wrote what kind of life I wanted to have in terms of income, impact, relationship, where I wanted to live. And then I asked my mom to read me over the phone what those answers were. And I actually crushed every single one of these goals and surpassed a lot of them since I read the book. So it's been absolutely awesome to be able to do that exercise. But ultimately, everyone needs to read the book, Awaken the Giant Within. Extremely powerful. It's an older book, but extremely, the tools still hold, and it'll be able to have a lot of impact in your life. So the second book, right? This one's helped me tremendously from a finance and business standpoint, is Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. I don't want to butcher his last name. It's a great book. I didn't get this book until 1 year into my businesses. And then once I read the book, I was like, damn, how did I make it this long? So the concept of profit first ultimately is that you pull the profit first and you operate the business on what is left. It could be pulling out 1%, 5%, 10%, depends on what the margins are for your business. But basically, a lot of companies will just get the cash in and they're going to spend. And at the end of the year, they see if they're profitable. So I know that I've been profitable every single year since I started for all my businesses because we pull the profit first and then we operate on what's left. So it forces you to make wiser decisions. As much as that is the concept, there's a lot more valuable pieces of information and nuggets that are in the book. So I highly recommend that you read through it or that you get the Audible. All these books that I'm about to say, I actually read through, in a book. I didn't do on Audible because I really like to read. I like the feel of holding a book. So second book, Profit First, extremely powerful, allowed me to make tremendous progress in finances, allowed me to pay 60 plus K in debt from multiple things before, allowed me to put in a good position where where the future is looking brighter. So ultimately, honestly, even if I wasn't in business, Profit First is a great principle to apply into your personal finances, which ultimately I do as well, right? I pull out the profits first, which is basically my investment from my personal income, and then I operate on what's left. Because if you have depending on what kind of person you are, but if you have cash left in your checkings account, you're more likely to burn through it. So if everything has an allocation and a set percentage for each thing, then it makes it easier for you to basically stay on track and not get in debt. And you'll be, it's very interesting because I think for I have maybe like 12 accounts that have different purposes, that have different percentages for the revenue. So yeah, my banking my bank account has got a little bit more complex, but man, does it ever provide internal peace when you know that you're doing everything right? So Profit First, powerful book, even if you're not in business, great for personal life. Three is Everything Fat Loss by Dr. Layne Norton. So I've been studying Dr. Layne Norton's content for, oh gosh, like 18 years now, because he's been around for a long time, for almost 18 years now. So a lot of the knowledge that I have gained throughout the years that I've been able to implement for myself, for our members, have come from studying some of his work. So the book Everything Fat Loss, I think, is a great place to start for most people that want to learn about fat loss, right? Obviously, as I'm saying that all of these books, they're all great, but implementation is the key here, because if you just read them and you do anything with them, it won't change your life. None of them are going to change your life. But if I was to be like overweight and not know anything about fat loss, I would go and read that book and implement that. So Everything Fat Loss by Dr. Layne Norton, where he talks about the principles of fat loss, how to create calorie deficit, why you don't want to create a fast calorie deficit. You want to talk about reverse dieting, hormone metabolism, all that fun stuff. So book number 4, that one was a game changer for me when I read that book. It's Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willings, because there was a point in my life where I just played the victim mentality. I just played the victim card, where I was operating as if life was happening to me instead of for me, right? And that was back in the time with my ex-partner had breast cancer, and I was just dead broke, and lost my apartment. And there's a lot of things that happened in the past, but I was just blaming everyone else. And Extreme Ownership just really, when I actually listened to that one, and then I did the audiobook after, because there's just something about Jocko's voice that just like gets you to stand up and freaking do shit, because he has that deep military voice. But Extreme Ownership was really powerful because it allowed me to own my shit. And the examples that he shares are military stories in the book, but you can still relate them to your personal life. And I was like, damn, like I'm not operating to my highest capacity because I'm playing the blame game. I'm playing the victim card. And I read that book maybe 5 years ago, and it just made a world of a difference in my life. Started operating very differently in my personal life and every other area of my life. And the quality of my life drastically improved from there. Right? Again, the big part is implementation. So you might hear things or read things in that book that might not be pleasant. And that was the case for me a few times, but definitely a game-changing book. If you're someone that struggles with discipline and mindset and just taking action, ultimately, highly recommend that you read that book. So book number 5 is Deep Work by Cal Newport. Right. So deep work, I was introduced to that concept before I read the book by one of my mentors, Vince Del Monte. And he talks about doing deep work in the morning. I was like, okay, I understand what it's like. It's uninterrupted work ultimately for a few hours. But reading the book really allowed me to see what deep work actually was. And so I invite you guys to read the book, because it'd be really long for me to kind of explain it. And I don't think that I would be able to do it justice, because ultimately the guy wrote a whole book about it. So I highly recommend that you read that book. But ultimately, I've been doing deep work for over 3 years every single morning, ranging from 90 minutes to an hour and a half to 3 hours every single morning. So it's basically when I come in, I sit on my computer, I have a preset list of things to do, and then I tackle them by 30-minute chunks. I'll do 20, basically the Pomodoro technique. I'm going to grab one task and we'll work on it for 25 minutes. I'm going to take a little 25-minute break where I hydrate, I change my physiology, do maybe a little bit of breath work, and I'll go back into the second task to tackle, and I'll do that for maybe 3 to 6 blocks every single morning. And I found that to be so powerful. If I can get a 3-hour deep work session in the morning, I can get as much done in an 8-hour that what I used to get done in an 8-hour day. Now I get a ton done in an 8-hour day, and it allows me to have uninterrupted work because my phone is off and I'm simply focusing on the task at hand, which again, I pre-built the list the night before. So deep work has been something that's changed my life drastically, has allowed me to work very efficiently. And if you're someone that struggles with efficient work, you feel that you're always distracted, your mind's going left and right, you're thinking about different things, doing that thing first thing in the morning, whether it's waking up an extra 30 minutes earlier so you can get a session in. I personally structure my day because I run my company. So I structure my day so that I can have uninterrupted deep work in the morning. I can have studying time after, and then I can kind of open up to the world and start taking meetings and start taking calls with members. So deep work has been extremely powerful in allowing me to move so much faster than I would have compared to before, when I would just wake up and kind of start reacting to the day. Now I'm actually in a state of responsiveness, right? I get to control the things that are happening. So just to reiterate them, right? Awaken Giant Within by Tony Robbins, it was definitely more of a mindset book, right? To work on the psychology, because Tony always says all transformation are 80% psychology, 20% strategy, right? You can have the best strategies in the world, but if the psychology is not there, you're not going to take action on it and you're going to self-sabotage. And so that book is literally about taking care of the psychology. The Profit First, so obviously taking care of your finances, getting a handle on your money and how you spend your money and how you manage your money. Everything Fat Loss is taking care of your body, right? I wouldn't say that it's necessarily like a health book. You won't learn about, for example, plant-based eating, the diversity, how to improve your gut microbiome, how to balance your hormones. I wouldn't necessarily be a part of that, but I would be a part of being able to lose weight, lower your BMI. And we all know that if you're able to lose some weight, you feel a lot better in your skin. You'll feel more confident. You'll naturally have more energy if you're not carrying excess weight. It's going to be less stress on your body. So that would be take care of basically the physical component. Extreme Ownership. I could say that it's a mindset component, but it's literally more of an action component. It's more like a physical thing to help you become disciplined in your day-to-day life. So just really powerful book. And then Cal Newport is literally about just becoming an efficiency machine when it comes to work and getting things done. Because if you're like me, we live in a world where there's so much distraction, and implementing deep work in my life has allowed me to, again, get so much more done in 3 hours than I can in a full 8-hour days, as I was just living my normal life. And I woke up and I started being reactive to the world. So again, if I had to go back in time and read 5 books that would help me build the value, belief system, discipline, tools, and habits that I currently have that have allowed me to be successful, a lot of these fundamentals are covered in these 5 books. And so I owe a lot of my success to these 5 books because there's great principles in there. And so if you're wanting to improve your life or level any of those areas that we just covered, highly recommend that you go and buy one of these books. A little trick that I now do from time to time, depending kind of what state I'm in, what kind of book I'm reading. Right now, I'm reading the book The Emotional Brain, The Mysterious Underpinning of Emotional Life. If you're on YouTube, you can see the cover here. Just simply because I'm doing my Tony Robbins certification for coaching, because I'm studying. I want to be able to help people on the psychology component even more than I was before, right? You always want to continue to invest in yourself, and books is a great way to do that. So when I'm reading a book that's really technical like this, I like to take my time to really understand the concept, because it's a very hard book to understand, because it's very scientific. But other books, for example, like Extreme Ownership, Profit First, a bit more technical, maybe Deep Work and Extreme Ownership out of the 2 books there. You can buy the physical book and then buy the audio book and then read while you're listening to the audio, but put the audio on 2x speed. That way you can kind of read faster and get the information, because you're reading it with your eyes, but you're also hearing it with your brain. Another part was I'm also doing right now, I'm taking a speed reading course. So very happy about that, because I increased my reading speed from about 220 words per minute, which it was at the start, to over 440 words per minute. So I literally doubled my reading speed. So, I can read 10 pages. I technically read 10 pages every single morning. So I can read 10 pages a lot faster. So now I can read 20 pages every single morning in the same amount of time that I was reading 10 pages with full comprehension. So basically, speed reading is another way you can do that. That's why you probably saw on my Instagram that I started juggling, because there's a study that out of Oxford, I think, where they said jugglers had bigger brain, because juggling helps you create more gray matter, I think, in the brain. It was something like that. But anyways, juggling is really good for your brain. There's certain exercises that they made us do in the course in order to activate our brain and peripheral vision. And for example, I can do a whole podcast on how to speed read from what I've learned. I definitely share that. If you guys want that, just let me know. You can message me on Instagram, on YouTube, on email, on Facebook, whatever platform you want. Let me know, like, hey, I think that would be really valuable, because I know there's no comment section on the podcast. If you're on YouTube, you can comment under the comment section. So you definitely do that. So guys, buy these 5 books. Again, I have no affiliation with them. I just gave you the names. I will write the names down below. I'm not going to put an Amazon link, because we have an audience that is international. And again, it's not about affiliate link or anything. I just want you to change your life. So read these 5 books, give them a shot, add them to your list. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you're enjoying the podcast episode so far. We have a few guests lined up just to help elevate the value that you guys will be receiving. So thank you very much for listening to, again, this new podcast. I think we're episode like 3 or 4 in. So massive thank you, and very excited for the future. Hope you guys have an awesome day. And then check out the link down below for some free resources.